Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tea with Z. My name is Zamil Solanki, and it's an absolute pleasure to be joining each and every one of you again on another episode this morning. Now, if you haven't got your cuppa, your tea, whatever you might be drinking, go and grab that now because we're about to kick into today's episode. And on the way, while waiting for the kettle to boil, give me a like, give me a heart, because as you know, that energy exchange is what we're all about on Tea with Z. Because without energy, what are we? We're probably just blobs lying around doing nothing. So let's get that energy exchange. Let's get pumped because we're kicking off another incredible week. And a special shout out to those that have joined us or are joining us from the Limitless Network as well. A special shout out to each and every one of you. Hello and good morning. Now, if you want to drive some conversation, because that's what we're all about, driving some conversation, because conversation leads to what? It leads to interaction. And we're all about facilitating interaction here. So drop some comments in the comment section below as well. But let's kick into today's episode, taking lessons from the best learners. Now, over the weekend, and as Cyrus, and as you can probably tell now, a lot more of the content that I'm talking about is inspired by Syra and our family dynamic and what's happening in our life. Because like I say, like Tash and I, we debrief all the time. We chat about things that are happening in our world. And a lot of these conversations that I have with each and every one of you stem from a chat or a discussion or a topic that Tash and I have explored at a previous point in time, or explored to a little degree, and then I reflect on it and then dig a bit deeper into it as well. Because as you know, not only is this for each and every one of you, but I do these episodes for my family as well. And Tash joins pretty much every week as well. And it's absolutely incredible that we can then continue these conversations, but I can also continue them with each and every one of you as well. And so, as a result of taking inspiration from interactions with Syra and the lessons that she teaches us, a lot of the things that I start to pick up is so relatable to what we do as a healthpreneur, what we do in business, how we treat our teams, how we operate as employees and leaders within our organizations as well. Because at the end of the day, are you running a adult daycare center within your organization? Do you feel like you are mothering or fathering the children who might be your team, your employees, or your staff within your organization all the time? And as a result of that, do you see parallels between maybe in how you parent versus how you lead within an organization? Because as we know, those two roles of leadership and parenthood are very, very intertwined, if not almost identical. And so when we look at, I guess, the lessons that we can take on board, now, what I wanted to do today was discuss what, in my opinion, and for many people, are the best learners. Now, who do you believe are the best learners? Feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below. Who do you feel are the best learners? And you might be like, well, those maybe who've got PhDs or universities or whatever. It's actually children. It's actually children. If anything, the younger they are, the more acutely aware and the more adaptable to different learning styles that they are. Take, for example, learning a language. Learning a language, we have up to about the age of 6. If we are exposed to a language constantly, we then pick it up as our primary language. Now, multilingual homes, and some of our friends have tried truly multilingual homes. They speak 3 different languages in the household. And as a result of that, they've already started to see the way in which the child is developing this diverse range of skills. And the way in which they learn that language is through immersion. Like all of us, if we immerse ourselves into an environment, we can learn it very quickly. But as a child, we have the responsibility, I guess, we immerse them in their environment, don't they? They don't get to really choose their environment that they're in. They're a child, so they take on board all of the stimulus, all of the lessons from their environment. And they're doing it in a very conscious and a subconscious way. But I would argue that it's probably even in a more conscious way. Why? Because they are actively seeking that knowledge. They're actively trying to understand all of the amazing and wonderful things in our world. And as a result of that, are actively learning constantly. And this really became evident for us yesterday when we were sitting down and Syra started picking up just like a book. She picked up a book and she was just exploring it with absolute wonder and amazement independently. And it just really, I guess, took me a second just to realize that, if we as healthpreneurs could have that same wonder and amazement with whatever we're learning, whatever we're trying to teach, whatever we're trying to absorb into us and into our minds, then what a more profound impact that would have on our ability to learn and retain the information. And this is where I guess it comes about of going, well, this, key elements to how we retain information. And first, one, it's our energetic state. It's our energetic state. If our energy is depleted, if we are low, we are less likely to want to learn, firstly, and two, be actively involved in retaining that information. And secondly, it's having this element of curiosity. Curiosity, because we need to be curious. Through curiosity, we need to then drive engagement. Because if something is curious to us, is unknown, and we're like, I want to find an answer to that, we're going to be curious enough to then go and search for those answers. And that's going to spark our interest to learn about it. And thirdly, we need to be asking the right questions to get the right answers that we seek. And a lot of the time as a child, they're asking, what is this? Why is this here? How do I work it? How does this work? Where does this go? All of these different questions, the 5 W's and the H. What, when, where, why, how, and who. And as a result of this, we then, I guess, have this ability as healthpreneurs, if we can help provide them and our employees, our team, our staff, our talent with the same stimulus, the same curiosity, the same desire to find out the answers to these questions, we can then promote a way in which that they can learn and absorb new information and take it on board. But also, we need to provide a really positive, energetic state. And obviously, we know how challenging things are at the moment. We know how difficult things are at the moment. So today is Monday. Today is Monday. When you ask your team, I'm going to challenge you this, pick up on the cues going, how was your weekend? What did they do to take care of themselves and empower themselves to use that time effectively and efficiently to recharge their batteries for the remaining of the week? Or did they just run the fuel, or that was already running on fumes, and then they just depleted it? And then review that coming into this week. Review that coming into this week, because we know, taking lessons from the best learners, a child, if they don't sleep well, they're going to be less attentive. They're going to be less focused. They're going to be increasingly frustrated. They're going to be increasingly needy. They're going to have higher levels of anxiety and tension. And us as adults are no different. So what I want you to do is take on board and debrief with your team being Monday about what they did. And maybe it's today might be their Friday. Who knows? And so plan out what they're going to do to recover over their breaks, to recharge and fill their tank. And if they haven't, then take notice and debrief at the end of the week and assess, well, what could have caused either this heightened level of performance or this decreased level of performance. And you can track it back. So that's what I wanted to ask you today, and to challenge you to do that, is if we can take lessons from what we see are the best learners in the world is the children and the childlike state. And we'll dive into this more throughout the week. But if we can take lessons from them and apply it to the way in which we as adults operate, just think about all of the performance hacks. Think about all of the heightened levels of awareness, of consciousness, of also learnings and understandings that we can obtain. So that's it from me today. Yeah, have this conversation with your team. Have it even with yourself. How are you feeling this morning? Did you, enter the weekend already running on fumes, riding that red line on the fuel tank and just deplete it further? Now you've woken up and gone, oh man, it's Monday. I should have slept more. I should have recovered more. And then evaluate. Well, okay, what could you do today then to reset? Is it then that maybe you're going to work and you finish work and you do definitely some self-care and you have a really nice early night and reset for tomorrow? What does it look like to you? So that's it from me today. Food for thought, like always. And I really look forward to, I guess, catching up with you on another episode of Tea with Z tomorrow. But have an incredible, incredible week. And the point of this, and it'll get alluded to later on the week, you might be talking about, well, why is he talking about learning stuff and all of that? Because at the end of the day, we want to sharpen our saw. We want to get these hacks. The more content that I delivered through Tea with Z, well, would you rather learn these hacks after about how we can retain, utilize, and implement the knowledge that we're talking about, or would you like to sharpen the saw beforehand? It's like cutting a piece of timber, right? Are you going to keep cutting that piece of timber with a blunt knife, or blunt saw, I should say, and then at the end of the cut, then go and sharpen it? Or would you sharpen it beforehand and make that process even so much more easier? And so these are the little things and lessons that I want to start to impart on you, just to give you this food for thought as to how you can sharpen the saw prior to doing all that hard work. So that's it from me today. Have an absolutely incredible day and stay safe, stay well, and I look forward to catching up with you wherever you are in the world on another episode tomorrow. Bye for now.